is your program?
Yes. Okay. So raise your hand if you've gotten a piece of work printed in the last year.
I have.
Oh. Okay. If you have, way to go. You're among a small percentage of today's photographers. If you haven't, what's holding you back? Well, back in the day, every photographer actually printed their work because they had to print it in order to see it. Remember those days? Today, we take hundreds of photos that never see the light of day. Everything about the way that we capture and share our digital photos has changed over the past 2 decades. With the explosion of smartphone usage, suddenly everyone has high quality digital cameras on virtually everything at all times. As a result, we're taking more photos than ever. It's nearly 1.5 trillion every year and counting. Our hard drives have become the flat files in the shoe boxes of old, full of photographs we don't look at. So tonight we will learn about one company that has a great way to bring our digital files to life. Please welcome Sarah Caesar, Executive Partner, Business Partner at Fracture. Sarah, did we lose you? Oh, there you are.
I'm here. Thank you, Connie. I appreciate that introduction. Forgive the echo. We are moving this week, so it's a little empty in the room that I'm in right now. So sorry if that's too distracting. I'll try and keep my speaker down low a little bit, so then hopefully the feedback won't come through. So thank you all for being here today. I know as I was talking with Connie about this group, everyone loves photography. Fracture loves photography. So this seemed like a great opportunity to talk a little bit about Fracture and hear from you about what's important to you as photographers. So before I get started, has anybody heard of Fracture before or printed something from Fracture?
I got a Fracture.
We got a couple? Oh, okay, we've got a couple. All right.
No, I've not heard of it.
Perfect. So so I just want to kind of get a group. So we have a handful of people who have heard of Fracture or have one in their possession or have seen the finished product. So one of the traditions at Fracture before we start any meeting is to go around and do a question of the day. So my question for each of you, and you don't all have to answer, but those of you who want to share, I'd love to hear from you. What is the one image that you've captured that you want to be able to display? Like, where was it? Is it your family? Is it landscape? Is it a tractor? What's that one image that you're like, I need to get this so I can see it on a regular basis, off your camera, off your computer, off your phone? Anybody have any thoughts on that?
Me, landscape.
Yeah.
Well, not so much landscape. I mean, yeah, I have a lot of old family pictures that I like to try to put up somewhere.
A combination landscape and portraits.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've got travel pictures.
I actually printed. I wanted to see how much detail they could have in the print when it was printed.
Mm-hmm.
And the detail on this picture is amazing. It's small because Fracture is not cheap. It's not, but it is very unique. So you pay the price. It's definitely worth the price. But I have an actual Fracture print. But they do the detail in it. I was really kind of amazed.
I like family pictures.
Yeah, family pictures are always great to have. Anyone else?
Milky Way sky photos.
Yeah, the moon would be a good one.
I don't know.
Yeah, we've got our wildlife photos. I'm waiting to put up.
I'm waiting to print and then put them.
Well, print them. Yes, print them.
All right. So I have probably one of every category that even working at Fracture, we get a stellar employee discount. And, previous to working at Fracture, I would have photos, covering my refrigerator. I would get the laminated magnets and print all my 4x6 photos and then just cover the entire refrigerator or cover walls in printed photos. And, you know, people would come over to my house and say, oh, well, you know, you have so many photos, like some of them are years old. They've been on my refrigerator for years, and, you know, you kind of stop paying attention to them. So that got me thinking about what are the things that I really care about in my photos. What are the ones that I want to see on a regular basis? And then when I came across Fracture as a company, I was like, this is perfect. I love being able to see photos. I'm always that person taking pictures. I'm definitely far from a photographer. I would not describe myself as that, but I love to take photos as I can. So it's really great to work for a company like Fracture that really cares about photos. So I have a little presentation. Let me share my screen. If you have, let's see here. If you have questions as I walk through, like, please shout them out. I want to make sure that we can answer them, or I know I saw in your instructions to use the chat, so feel free to do that as well. All right, 1 second now, my file. Use password, 1 second.
Are you talking to your computer screen?
Yes. Later. Okay. There we go. I do that. Don't you guys do that? Don't you talk to your computer while you're trying to get it to do something?
Well, that's
All
important.
right. Let me see. Can everybody see the screen okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I want to tell you a little bit about how Fracture started, and then what's special about us. So who is Fracture? So Fracture is a photo decor company. The whole motto and kind of mission of Fracture is to help people focus on the moments that matter most in their life. So I don't want to read everything through on the screen, but we're based in Alachua, Florida, right outside of Gainesville. If any of you were familiar with the University of Florida, it's just down the street here. One of the hallmarks of Fracture is that sustainable business and being environmentally friendly is very important. So all the decisions that are made from manufacturing to shipping is based on that. We want to make sure that we're taking care of the environment as much as we can. So how did Fracture start? So in 2008, 2 University of Florida students decided that the way that people were printing photos and storing photos and displaying photos was just wasn't cutting it. Frames are bulky, they're expensive, they're old, you know, like if you have lots of wood in your house, you know, they collect dust. There's all kinds of things like that. If you change your decor in your house, then you might want to change the frames, you might want to change the colors, the shapes, the sizes, the display. So they started to think about what are the ways, what can we do about this? So their hope was to create something sleek and modern, even 14 years ago when they started, that would kind of stand the test of time and be a more premium product. As was mentioned, Fracture is not meant to be the bargain basement option for printing your photos. So I don't want to name any other companies that, you know, they highly discount or, you know, really get on there with huge discounts for literally every order. Fracture's product, as you know, we've heard from somebody already, is a very premium product, and our price reflects that a little bit. I know, I think the kind of the range of prices from $25 for our smallest size to up to I think it's $120 for the largest size right now. So 14 years ago, Fracture was started. This is just a little timeline of kind of what's changed and what's happened in that time. So 2009, they had their first crack at a website and received their first order. A few years later, they really figured out they need to market. They need to understand how to let people know that fracture exists. So they really went after the direct to consumer field. So one thing that we've definitely been asked about a lot is, why are you a direct to consumer company instead of business to business company? We're not far off from that. That's definitely the direction that we're going in, but we need to make sure that we have all the fundamentals right. So they started as direct to consumer. So any person who has access to the website can upload their photo, make any edits that they want, check out and have it shipped to their door within a few days. In 2015, Fracture became a carbon neutral company. And that also happened to be their first full year of profitability. So profitability is very important to Fracture. It's kind of one of the things that we hang our hat on. We don't spend ahead of, as a company, we don't spend ahead of revenue. And that has brought us to where we are today for sure. In 2017, Fracture started to dip their toes into advertising on TV. They got connected with a company that was helping them with that, and they had a lot of success to that. Only until this last year, we had spent probably 70 to 80% of our marketing budget on TV, and that paid off. We've had our millionth order, I think in 2019. We've shipped to every country in the world, not every country, every state in the country and worldwide as well. So TV was really good to us. With the change in kind of the landscape of what TV is, specifically during the pandemic, we definitely found that more people were sitting at home watching TV because they didn't have anywhere else to go. So that definitely gave us a boost. And now as the pandemic is, letting off and people aren't sitting in front of the TV as much, we've decided to shift our marketing to more social media and all of the apps and programs that you would find: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, things like that. So it's kind of how we got to where we are today. In 2020, we moved to a 30,000 square foot solar powered facility. And we're a $25 million company at that point. So in about 12 years, the company went from 0 to 25 million, which is incredible. Being profitable for a significant part of that time as well. And now this year, we are going through a year of just foundation building. The things that brought us to $25 million is not going to bring us that next, to that next kind of landmark of $75 to $100 million. So we're really taking the time now to make sure that our website can handle the growth that we expect, that our team can handle the growth that we expect, and our production facility can handle the growth that we expect as well. So does anyone have any questions about kind of how Fracture started or anything that I've mentioned so far? No? Perfect. Right. All right, so we talked about frames, right? So the photo decor industry is stuck in the past a little bit. One of the things that B, who is the CEO and he was one of the founders, I work very closely with him every day. One of the things that he's always said is when they started the company, he wanted Fracture to be the Apple of photo decor. So Apple definitely has the reputation of being a sleek, modern, everything's really top of the line. It's a premium product. You pay for it, but you get what you're paying for. Photo decor industry, like we've said, is, frames are expensive, inefficient. You have to take the photo out from behind it to move it to a new frame. And it's just not sustainable, because what do you do with the frames after you take the photo out? They kind of sit in a closet somewhere, maybe you have a garage sale or drop them off at a thrift store, but they're just kind of around still. And after a certain point, they just end up in the trash because they're just old. They may fall apart depending on the quality and how they're made. So I want to give you a little sneak peek into Fracture and really what the product is. So we do print directly onto glass. It's not on a piece of paper that's slipped behind the glass. It's not on the backing or the mounting that's on the back of the actual glass product. It's literally on the front of the glass. So we start out as cut, the glass is cut in our facility. It comes in, it's cut, it's washed, it's cleaned. I'll share a little video to kind of give you kind of a visual of that process. And then ink is sprayed directly onto the glass. We have 4 printers in our facility, and they can print, I think they print 4,000, we call them units. It could be the small to large is kind of averaged out, 4,000 units per day. So that's pretty significant when we're really moving. The ink is cured through a UV process. So if you go and get your nails done at the nail salon and you have a gel manicure, it's kind of the same curing process. It dries it instantly. And then a white ink is laid on top of that. So that way that basically brings out all the colors and pops that color out. And then finally the backing is put on, and you can see here in the photo, it's really thin. Our glass is around 3 millimeters thick. The backing is probably 5 to 7. So it's still pretty thin once you have it in your hand. And that gives it some durability, and it also kind of sets it off from the wall so that you don't have glass scratching the paint on the back of your wall.
I had a question. How fragile is the material?
How fragile is the glass?
The glass itself.
It's tempered glass.
It's not
It's
tempered
actually
glass. It's pretty, the UV process does something to it to strengthen it a little bit, but it is really, I'll share a video as we get through. We've had some of our customer support team kind of throwing a box around basically to kind of see what would happen. And I don't want to spoil the ending, but it doesn't break for most of the tests that they put it through. So it is pretty sturdy. Not to say that they don't break because they're glass, but it's not going to, I would say that the amount of prints that are damaged in shipping is like 1% or less than 1%. It's very minimal. And usually that's because carrier error. Basically our packaging is pretty sturdy and has been tested significantly. So we'll get into a little more detail on that in a minute.
Okay.
Does that answer your question? Anybody else have questions just to kind of about like the printing process and how an actual print is made?
What about the durability of the final finish as far as being scratched or anything like that? I mean, how durable is it? Because the ink is on the inside of the glass, it's not on the outside that you would touch when it's on the wall. It's on the back side. So that protects it for sure. We definitely have a quality control program that checks every image 4 times before it goes out the door. So when you upload your order, you'll be able to, the customer support team will make sure the photo is the correct quality, and you know, there's nothing there that would be an issue in printing. And then the glass is checked before it's printed on. The glass is checked after it comes off the printer, after the white has been put on the back, and then as it's boxed, it's checked again. So it's checked several times.
You have to have a standard size, like an 8x10, 4x5.
No. So I knew we were going to get to this question. So, oh, it looks like somebody has a question in the chat too. I'll come back to that once I get through with this. So we don't have kind of the 4x6, 8x10 sizes. They're a little bit off. It is a 4:3 ratio. So that, I know as photographers, those are not the ratios that you would readily use. For uploading pictures from your phone though, it's great. So it's just there's kind of a gap there. And it's definitely something that we're always working on, adding new sizes.
and new shapes even. We're exploring hexagon prints and round prints to kind of be able to do something different. So there's lots of, our R&D specialist is amazing, and he's always got great things kind of going on at his desk. I love to pop by when I'm in the office. So yeah, no, we don't have the 2 to 3 ratio yet, but we're working on it. It's coming, I promise. Let's see. And then, will you compare this to acrylic prints is the question in the chat. So to be honest, I've never held an acrylic print in my hand. So I can't tell, I can tell that we've compared it to canvas and printing on metal. Those are kind of the 2 main things that our customer support marketing are focusing on, kind of the comparisons to. Obviously it's pretty significant difference between canvas and glass, just because of the quality, the sharpness is there on glass versus on a canvas print. It's definitely thinner, a little more sturdy. Canvas print, I know I had a canvas print at my house, and when I moved, a hole got punctured through it just by having it being tossed in the truck and not wrapped well. So I can't speak to acrylic prints as much, though. Does anybody else who's maybe had a fracture could speak to that?
I can tell you that I've had both acrylic and I've had a fracture.
Mm-hmm.
The fracture print, you feel it. You can feel it's not acrylic. This is a different concept altogether. And the white backing that you apply on last,
Mm-hmm.
I have tried. I thought, okay, it's just a cheap. You can't scrape it off. This isn't coming off. You're gonna you're gonna break the glass before you take that off. And it doesn't. The front doesn't scratch. I mean, mine doesn't have any scratches on it, and that it's been through some stuff. So
That's
acrylic to me kind of feels plasticky. The fractures don't. There's a difference. There is a difference. I like fractures.
perfect. No, I'm glad to hear that for sure.
I paid him, Sarah. I paid him to say that, right, John?
I appreciate it. I appreciate it for sure. It's always great to see and talk to people who have held a fracture in their hand, and just kind of hear their honest feedback. So even if it's negative, even if it's not what they expected, it's always great to hear kind of people's thoughts, and we can take that back and definitely share that with the team. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. So let's talk a little bit more about kind of the printing process. So like I said, we have 4 printers. They're flatbed printers. You can see this middle photo here. The glass is laid out, and obviously it's calculated so that way everything lines up. But we print many photos at one time. So it lays each color individually. So all the yellow goes down, all of, every color goes down individually. And then when it's done running, every photo has been completed onto each of the glass. Does that make sense? Okay. So the hard and tricky part is, how did we come up with this? So nothing is patent. We've pulled machines from around the world to be in kind of combine them together to be able to create our manufacturing process internally. So our process is very important to us, and I know our director of manufacturing and our whole entire production team is very proud of kind of where it's come and where it's going to go in the future. Our plan next year is to purchase another 10,000 square foot to be able to expand our manufacturing facility, so that way we can print more prints faster, get them to you quicker, and really be able to kind of get to that next level of a $75 to $100 million company. All of our software that kind of figures out how this goes was built by one of the co-founders. So he was a engineer and really started it from scratch. We're in the process of kind of going through and cleaning all of that up right now and making sure that everything is more up to date, but everything started from scratch at Fracture. The idea, the actual product, was something brand new at that time, and all of the technology behind it has been custom built as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask you a question. Can I interrupt just a second? Did you ever offer fracture through other companies like Bay Photo or things like that? The reason I asked
Say that
that is, did you ever offer it through other companies like Bay Photo, for example? I seem to remember years ago in Bay Photo having a project called Fracture. I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
I don't recall that.
Okay.
I haven't worked at Fracture for it's just been a year, so I don't have all of the history, but I've never heard of that. We've done some partnerships over time for sure, but as far as I know, there hasn't been any big retail partnerships or e-commerce partnerships.
Today it's directly with you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You can only get a Fracture from Fracture. You can't get them anywhere else right now.
All right.
All right. Any other questions on the printing process and what that does? I have a video that I'll share.
How does that compare to like an Adobe color matrix?
Say that again.
The color. I was just curious how your color prints compare to like a regular photo print.
In terms of your color spectrum and
Yeah, the color spectrum. Yeah.
I don't know if I know the detail on that. I'll definitely make that note and see if I can get that information. I'll forward it back to Connie. I know that there are the color spectrum and the DPI is, I think, let me see if I can find, I just saw a note earlier on something that we printed 300 DPI. Yes, that's right. And so I know that is tough, but I don't know about the color scheme there. So I'll check on that.
So how many inks do you have? Do you have like several inks in the inkjet printer? You must, huh?
Yes. No, for sure. That's definitely something that, as you know, kind of even the supply chain, you know, we've had to figure out like where can we get, because you can't just buy it at Walmart or order it on Amazon. Every part and piece of our process we have to buy either from the manufacturer, or sometimes we just figure out how to fix them ourselves and kind of make things work, because of our printers and even the machines that cut the glass and clean the glass and bevel the edges so that way that they're not sharp when they arrive at your door. Everything has been kind of pieced together, so they're not necessarily being used for the purpose that they were originally intended for, if that makes sense. We've had a couple of great engineers on our team over the years, and they've really figured out how to use equipment that is not necessarily, you know, obviously inkjet printers are pretty standard. They print whatever you want to print on them, but even like the jigs to be able to put all of those different sizes in there are all custom made by our team. So anybody else have?
Do you guys do any color correction or anything on pictures that people send you, or you just print exactly what they send you?
We can do some light color correction. We definitely do not advertise that we will edit your photos in any way, shape, or form. There's one feature of our customer support team. They'll go through and enhance it, or if it looks a little dark or the color is kind of off, they can obviously use Photoshop and other tools to enhance those as best they can. But we don't offer a service to edit your photos currently. That's something that's definitely on the
photo that I have is actually spot on. It's kind of hard to compare a fracture print with what you see on a piece of paper or on a screen, but the color, the detail, it's there. There's really, the quality is there.
Now, do you send a digital photo or a paper copy, or what? When you
go to our website and upload the digital version of your photo.
Well, I think what you may be asking is, I mean, a lot of us use other services. I use Bay Photo a lot. If I send my stuff to Bay Photo, they will. They have a service where they'll touch. I mean, if it's too dark, if it's too whatever, they'll get it right for me. I mean, they don't edit my pictures. I do a lot of my own editing, but they will not send me back a dark print, for example.
Yeah.
I've had that happen. I've sent it to some people and they get back a print that's too dark. Well, thanks a lot, you know? It doesn't do me any good, you know?
Was it dark when you sent it, or did
Well,
it?
it probably was. I mean, it probably started off as my fault. But you know, if you're printing it, for God's sakes, look at the thing. You know?
Yeah, no, I can promise you that every photo that gets uploaded and confirmed through an order gets within 24 hours, it has human eyes on it to look
Don't
at it
wait
and make
any-
sure that everything, the quality is there. Sometimes, depending on the source of your original photo, it could not be the greatest quality depending on, you know, what size you're trying to print. So if you have a photo that you downloaded from Facebook and then was shared from somebody else, and you're trying to get that into a 23 by 23 image, it's probably not going to look that great. So we do have some warnings on our website that kind of let people know, hey, the quality is not where it needs to be for this size, and they'll recommend other sizes that it could fit with. Once in a while, though, there are a couple kind of medium steps in there where you can just confirm that you agree that you're going to take the chance of printing it how it is, and that's kind of where it is. Our customer support team is great about reaching out to customers, especially if they see a photo come through that's kind of pixelated or the color is a little off. But you know, for the most part, we don't want to touch your photos without explicit permission. Sometimes people will send an email or chat to our team and say, hey, can you try and, you know, remedy this photo a little bit? Maybe sometimes we get photos of photos. So somebody will have a printed photo and then they'll take a digital photo of it and upload it and say, can you print this? And you don't want us to print that photo that you sent us. So we'll try and.
Well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah, make it as best we can, for sure. Any other questions before I move on? Oh, I think somebody's muted. I can't see their name.
Yeah, space key, guys, if you want to unmute quickly.
What file format do you use for your photos, recommend for your photos that you send?
JPEG is the best for sure. There's a couple other formats. This really just depends on the quality, but JPEG is kind of the advised. And that's what most kind of amateur photographers or people who are taking photos on their phone are going to send anyway. So that's kind of how it was originally set up. Any other questions? Perfect. All right, so let me skip to the next slide here. It's going to go. It's a little slow now. There we go. All right, so this is answering some of the questions that we've had already. So if you want a fracture in your hand, first step is to go to our website. There's lots of different ideas on there, different things to print or how to print them, different sizes. You upload and order your print. So when you upload your photo, it goes to a customizer. So you could do some light editing there. You could, change the contrast and crop and all of those kind of basic things. And then from there, it'll take you to our size selection. So it'll give you an actual image of your photo in each of our sizes. So you can kind of see relatively what it'll look like. On our website, we have a model basically holding a physical print of each of the sizes. So you can see relative to a human being, how big it is as well. So once the order comes through and it's received, like I said, we have a customer support person who looks at every single photo, make sure that there's no issues. We definitely have some standards around what can be printed. If anything's a blatant copyright, we'll reject that and just send a note and we'll refund the customer. Like, that's not a problem at all, but there's certain things that we can't print. Once in a while, we'll definitely get questionable, maybe adult photos that we don't print either. So there are physical eyes laying on every single image that comes through. Looking at the chat here. How would I check that? Gotcha. I am going to copy this question and I see your email here, so I will definitely make sure that I can answer that question. I'll have to ask
one of our customer support teams. So they were definitely more technical in the color management and just editing in general. So let me promise to get that back to you. Let's see, where was I? So the print is then, once it's passed our quality check for the first step, it's sent to our printer. Like I said, we have multiple rounds of quality control. So we have somebody who's looking at the glass when it comes, before it goes onto the printer. I have somebody who's looking at the color after.
Yeah, I'm in a Zoom meeting, right?
Somebody on the phone. We have somebody who, checks the glass, make sure there's no lint. It goes through a power washing system. Once it goes to be printed on, we have somebody who's making sure that there's no issues with the color. There's no scratches in it. There's no dust that kind of got in there to be in the ink as well. Once it comes off of the color printer, it goes through the system to get that white backing on it, and then it's cured again. From there, it gets that foam kind of support backing, and that's gonna also have a little keyhole in it, so that way you can mount it on your wall. So it comes with a little hole on the back. Our smaller sizes also will fit in a stand. We have custom stands. They're very minimal. It's really just a piece of metal. So it doesn't really take away from the actual product. So if you get a smaller, then you can set it on your desk or set it on a coffee table or your mantle and display them that way if you don't want to hang them on the wall. From there, it's packed. It's ready to go. So we're very proud of our packaging. We definitely are aware of the environment and that we don't use packing peanuts. We don't use styrofoam. We don't use plastic. Everything is cardboard that's in the box except for the actual glass print. There is definitely something to be said for, like I mentioned earlier, we have, less than 1% of damage rates from our carriers. And that's not just because they're being careful, it's because things are packed very well and to kind of sustain the minimum amount of damage that it possibly can. Question, is the glass coated to reduce glare? So we do have our original print is the glossy that you've seen. We do have matte glass as well. So if you want something that doesn't have a glare, definitely order the matte, and that will kind of eliminate that issue. Any other questions on that? All right, so once you receive your print in the mail, it comes with a little screw that you can hang in the wall as well. My personal favorite is I hate dealing with screws and get a drill out, put holes in your wall. I use command strips on the back, so I just use the Velcro ones. Put 2 on each side, and then I can move it around the wall without having multiple holes in my wall. So that's my little secret that I do. And it just takes 1 or 2 depending on your size. And because they are pretty lightweight, you don't need 4 for a smaller print. I just use 1 and I've never had a problem with it. So that's my little tip and trick for you. Any questions on kind of the ordering process or kind of basically until you get it from here? All right, perfect. So let me close this chat function. So what makes Fracture different? So we have a couple things that really make us different than any other company that you would order your images from. We love our customers. Our customer support team is one of the best assets to our company for sure. We have 2 kind of fail safes for our customers. We have a 60-day happiness guarantee. So if you order an image, you get it in the mail, you look at it and you're like, you know what, this is not what I thought it was going to be. There's, whatever the reason is, and I'll go through on the next slide kind of how that breaks down between the 60-day happiness guarantee and the lifetime warranty. But if there's something about it that you just don't love, it's not as sharp as you wanted, or the colors or whatever it is, contact us. We'll either print you a new one, give you a credit to be able to use again, give you a refund, or you can send us a new image and we'll print that one and send it off to you. So there's definitely some options there if you're not happy with the print that you get. to your doorstep. We also have a lifetime warranty, and that really covers the physical quality of the product. So if the backing has any issues, one thing about our prints is they don't do great in high humidity, so I wouldn't hang them in a bathroom where you're running the hot shower all the time. There has been reported issues with kind of the backing coming off and it just being a little unsturdy. So don't hang it in your bathroom where it's going to have a lot of steam access. So looking at the question again. So can these prints be backlit, or does the white backing impact backlighting? So we cannot currently print them without the white. So they're not able to be backlit. If they were to be backlit, that white cure would not be able to be on that, and that's just not a part of our process right now. It has been requested a handful of times for sure, but that's just not something that we do. So there's no backlighting to it. It has to have that solid background on it. Let me go back. So to continue on with this slide, one of the things that we really, are very proud of, and we started from scratch, was our vertically integrated manufacturing. So everything is on site in the same facility that I go to every day. There's a set of glass doors, basically. So our office staff is on one side, and on the other side is all of our staff who is printing the physical product. So we'll be able to see the photos coming in. We love being able to see people's dogs and vacation photos and beautiful scenery, or wherever they've been. It's really cool to just be able to be a part of that with them. Any issues with fading? And similar question, William and Jim had similar questions. So no. So I'm not going to say that it has never happened, but that's not by any means anything that has been reported on any frequency. If for some reason that would happen, that is covered in our lifetime warranty. So if it's hanging in the sun and you really, and that glass protects it, for sure, that gives it some, because the printing, like I said, is on the back side of the glass, not the exposed side that you're touching. So if for any reason anything is faded or scratches get into it, anything like that, that's covered in our lifetime warranty. So you're covered there if you come across any issue. Let's see, let me get back to, so our manufacturing, like I said, is on site. Every single, like I know the name of every person who's putting the glass, from the truck that comes in to everything is hand cut in our facility. And then through the entire process, it's done by a live person who lives in Florida every day. So that's something that we're very proud of for sure. And then, like I mentioned before, the environment matters now, obviously more than ever. So our packaging is very important to us, and our carbon neutral facility is also something that we're very proud of, and something that makes a little bit of a difference when you're considering which company you want to support. So we're definitely proud of that. Let me go quickly. This is not, there we go. So like I mentioned, every single print is created, checked, and double checked by our team to make sure that everything is good. So here's just a handful of things that are covered under our 60-day happiness guarantee and then our lifetime warranty. So color issues, if there's blur or pixelation, once in a while somebody will upload a photo and maybe the ratio is off a little bit and they just get click happy, they hit go, and then they get the image and it's cropped a little differently than they expected. If that's the case, you just let our customer support team know, and we'll fix the image for you and get it resent out. For the lifetime warranty, this covers it until, the end of time, essentially. So if that mounted backing needs replacement, if you've had it hanging in your bathroom and the humidity gets to it over a period of time, we'll definitely replace it. Anything that's covered in the 60-day happiness guarantee is covered in the lifetime warranty. If we've had a couple of reports of the ink chipping, and I know someone mentioned that white is really hard to get off. I don't want to say that it's impossible to get off, because we've tried to scratch it with different tools to kind of understand like what it would take. Once in a while that happens, and a customer will report that it chipped for some reason, or they were able to chip it. And if that's the case, you just reach out and we'll definitely make sure that that gets fixed for you. And then one thing that, you know, like I said, like here's a couple photos of kind of the start of the process. So our glass comes in big sheets. It's scored and hand broken into the sizes that it needs, and then goes through the entire process. That's kind of the start. And then the photo on the right is somebody checking the photos again before they go into a box to make sure that there's no dust on them, that they're clean, that the image is correct. The person who is looking at your order has the print in front of them, and then also your order pulled up on the screen, so they can make sure that everything matches and that the photo that you uploaded matches exactly to the one that we're sending you.
How long do you keep these photos on file?
I think after, so there's a couple options. So if you create an account, they will be stored until you delete them.
Okay.
So like your order is there. There's some people who don't create an account, and usually that's like 90 to 100 days before that file expires in our system. There are different ways. I've seen on a daily basis, somebody will have a photo that they printed, you know, a year ago, and they want the lifetime warranty for something. And we're able to go in and pull that photo. Once in a while, we'll need our developers to go into the back end and pull it. But that is possible. So I think we've had, maybe the longest I've heard that we've had somebody request a photo was, I think, like up to 5 years previous, right. And we were able to pull it. So it really just depends on, there's an option to be able to save your photos in your account. Maybe not necessarily the ones that you're ordering, but you can save photos there. If they're saved there, obviously, then we can pull them very easily. But if you delete everything and make sure, and it's not tied to an email address, it definitely makes it a little more difficult for us to pull it for you.
It's a nice option.
Yeah. All right. So this is a photo of the building on the left here is our facility. Alachua created what has now become Tech City. So it's a community of entrepreneurs, companies and businesses who are in startup mode, et cetera. We just had a brewery open last week that is new, and our entire campus will eventually be fairly sustainable. We'll have housing on site. We already have a daycare there. The land around it is being developed to be able to have bike trails and things like that. Once the houses are built, every person who rents a house will live on solar power. A bike will be given to them for transportation. So the purpose of that community is really to be a real community and have people who live there, work there, can eat there, and have everything there on site that they need. So this is a photo of, there'll be 4 of these buildings right now. There's 2 that are currently in place. So we have one of the largest solar panel installations in the state of Florida. There's panels on both sides. So they will be able to pick up the heat that reflects off the ground as well. So that's something that's pretty cool. Will the brewery affect your quality control? No, because they don't open until a little later in the day, but they definitely are someone. They just had their soft opening last week. I wasn't able to make it, but it's really nice because of where we're located. There's not a lot of even like lunch options. Like you have to drive into town. We're really on a highway about 5 minutes outside of town. So as far as getting food ordered or lunch, or even if we have guests on site, will be great to be able to have that brewery there. But no, definitely no quality issues because of the brewery, but it's only been open for a week. So I guess I can report back once I have more information on that for sure. Let's see. So like I said, so largest bifacial solar panels in Florida, which is very exciting. That's something that we were very excited to be a part of. Our entire facility can run on the power that those solar panels generate. And each of the 4 complexes, that this is one that we're looking at now in this photo, will be able to sustain themselves. The houses that were being built will also be solar powered. So everything will be self-sustained there as far as electricity. The gentleman standing here on the stage is Abil Okesh. So he is our co-founder and CEO. He's my boss. I really appreciate just how much, honestly, as just a genuine person he is. I've worked for a handful of people who I've learned some lessons from, but I think I've learned the most in the last year from him, and being able to really be a part of what goes on to make Fracture be so successful. So I'll toss that out there. So we talked about packaging a little bit. I have a photo that or a video that I'll play for you momentarily, but one of the things that, like we said, like glass can be fragile, and to ship it around the world, you might have some hesitation there for sure, which is understandable. But we're really proud of our packaging. I've sent countless fractures to different friends and family, to my own house, and I've never had anyone report that there were any issues. Not to say that they don't happen, because never say never, but we are really intentional about the packaging that we have. Deb, you have your hand up. You have a question? Maybe that's a mistake.
Where are you located in Florida again?
Right outside Gainesville, Florida, so north central Florida. Just a couple hours north of Orlando and an hour and a half west of Jacksonville. So not quite the panhandle, but a little farther north. Right. Let me get to our next slide. And we should be just about done here. All right. So that is it. I do want to show you, since we have had some questions about the packaging. Let me go to, you can choose either. So there's a question about what is the largest that you print. So our largest right now of the square is 23 by 23 inches. Our rectangular is similar to that. If somebody's on our website, maybe they can shout that out faster than I can. But our smallest starts at a 5 by 5 square and around a 4 by 6 rectangular print.
Is the cost the same for black and white as it is for color?
Yeah, so it's whatever your image is, that's what we print. So if you want to print a black and white photo and upload the black and white, it's the same. Because it goes through the exact same process, it may use a hair less ink, but because it goes through the same process, it's the same price as the full color print. All right, let me see if I can share this video, because I want you to see, this is something that, and I can send you the link so you can go through this. So this is Paul, he's our director of customer support. He has been at Fracture maybe the longest outside of, he started right out of college on our customer support team, and now he's the director. So he's been there for, I think, 8 or 9 years. He's fantastic. He's the great source of knowledge for everybody. So this is Paul talking about kind of what our packaging looks like and kind of the different tests that our customer support team has put it through. Let me know if you cannot hear the audio.
Paul with Fracture here. Today, I want to talk a little bit about the packaging that we use for our glass prints. Now, I know what you're thinking. Our company's name is Fracture, and we ship glass prints all over the world. Something about that seems a little off. But here's the thing. Packaging rocks. Not only do we have super low damage rates, less than 1%, we also do it without including any kind of bubble wrap or packaging peanuts or unnecessary plastic of any kind. And that's not because we're lazy. We've actually spent a lot of time, energy, and money fine-tuning our packaging to make sure we can reliably ship our prints without burdening the earth with thousands of pounds of plastic every year. But just how durable is our packaging? Well, we've got Jackson in the parking lot to start us off with the truck test.
Thanks, Paul. I have a medium print here, and I'm going to run it over with this truck. Looks great. Back to you, Paul.
Well, that's just fantastic. And for transparency, I believe that truck had rear-wheel drive and was driven over standard asphalt. But now let's go to Christina for the drop test.
Thanks, Paul. For this test, we're going to use one of our classic size glass prints, and we're going to drop it from this ladder and see how it does. And that looks great. What do you think, Paul?
Looks great to me too. Full disclosure, that package dropped a total of 13.5 feet and did not in fact reach terminal velocity. But now let's tee up our final test outside with Tyler.
Thanks a lot, Paul. I got with me a small fracture print, a baseball bat, and a baseball tee. I'm about to hit a home run. Go check that out.
Yeah.
Looks good to me, Paul. Back to you.
Thanks, Tyler. It's worth noting that Tyler had a Little League batting average of 342, so that print did not get off easy. Here's the long and short of it. For a company that ships glass all over the world without using any packaging peanuts or extra plastic, we do a pretty darn good job. But things happen. Nothing's perfect. And for some cases where your package is mishandled, just get in touch with our friendly support team. We'll make sure a new print ends up in your hands right away. If you have any more questions about our packaging, you can email us at support@fractureme.com.
All right, so that gives you a little bit of an idea of how.
Want
now,
to keep business moving?
I would
Then say
not,
hello to Staples Advantage.
I'm sorry.
With custom pricing, free accounts, tailored programs, competitively priced products.
YouTube decided it wanted to play that next video, and I was not prepared for that. So I'm glad you didn't have to hear it, but I wanted to make sure that that was stopped. So like I was saying, I would not recommend obviously taking a baseball bat to a print outside of the box, but those boxes kind of really give you an idea of you're going to get your print intact without scratches, without chips in it, 99.9% of the time. So were there any other questions? I know that we're just up on time, so I want to be mindful of that as well. No? All right, well, thank you very much, all of you, for listening to me talk about fracture today. One thing that I will do is I will send Connie a link to a couple more videos that really explain the printing process and show you exactly what happens, so you can kind of see them go through the inkjet printer and have that white backing put on. And then we'll also share with you a discount code. So those of you who have not ordered a fracture print can do that. And those of you who already have one can know exactly what they're getting when they do order it.
And just so everybody knows, the code she's sharing with us is a photo club, not the world. So make sure we only use the code within our membership.
Yes, please don't post it on your Facebook page and list fracture in all the directions. We, like I mentioned, we don't do highly discounted anything as much as we can, because we want to maintain kind of our brand as a quality product. So we want to make sure that people really understand and get the quality print that they're ordering. So with that, if there's no other questions.
Just one quick question. The very large print, JPEG usually doesn't come out very good on larger prints. So what sort of do you need?
Say that to somebody else.
No, I was going to say, I don't know if there's anything wrong with the JPEG on a large print, but that's nice. If you start off with a small JPEG and stretch it out, yeah.
We do take PNG prints as well. So if that's an easier file type, you can definitely send those over for sure. And our website definitely has a page that has all of the file specs and information about kind of what size you need, what quality you need. One thing that people always ask is there like a room for a bleed on the side? It's the most minimal. Like I wouldn't have text, going to the very edge of your photo, but anything else, like you're never going to notice that it's cut off. So that's not an issue.
Okay. Sarah, this has been a really interesting discussion and very informative with your product. Looks like something that I might have to look into in the future.
Awesome. No, that's great to hear. I always love hearing about when people get their first print in the mail. So feel free to, send any feedback directly to me, like I mentioned, or to our customer support team, positive or negative. We always like to hear from our customers, whether they, would give us 1 star or 5 stars. Like, we want to know the reason behind those for sure. So.
No, I think this was excellent.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Let's see, it looks like somebody, I'll type the code in here so you guys have it. And then I will also, so that code will give you 25% off your order.
Okay.
It's just gift 25. And here is the link as well. So fractureme.com is the web address. And, like I said, you have to go to the website to upload your photo. There's, we can't mail it in, or somebody actually tried to fax us a photo. They're like, I want this document as a fracture. And I was like, well, if you fax it, it's not going to come out how you were anticipating. So please don't do that. So just upload your file, and the website is pretty easy to walk you through. It takes you through step by step what you need to do, and our support team is definitely ready for you if you have questions or any issues in that process. So
just so you know, I'm recording the meeting, but I'll take that gift, that part out. I'll cut that little piece of video out there.
Oh, okay, got it. Thank you. All right, well, that's all I have. Thanks again to each of you for your attention and your questions. I really appreciate that. And definitely feel free to reach out if you have additional questions. I do have the question about the Adobe colors and the email for that popped up on the chat. So I will find out that answer and get back to you.
Eric, can you copy me in on that just so we can share it with the other members too?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
And I want to thank you very much for tonight. I know this is later hours for you than normal, she being in Florida, and taking time sharing all the history of fracture with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. These are just the next couple of slides are the ones that I have been putting up each month, just to remind you, especially the new members, about our face page and the KingwoodPhotoClub.net, .com. I'm still tired. Coming in from yesterday, I had two flights that were totally canceled before I left on Thursday. And then coming back on Monday, I had a delay, which I didn't care about the delay, but I thought, just don't cancel it, because it was just like unreal. But anyway, so we have the KingwoodPhotoClub.com, which is where we have all of our news and our calendars, and then the Facebook page, which is the facebook.com, the group's Kingwood Photo Club, which we have members that can post things there. So those are the two things that we should look at monthly. And then if you have a friend and you would like to invite him, just send Chuck an email and he will send them a special link to our Zoom. Since we're meeting Zoom for the rest of the summer, they can check us out and decide whether they would like to become members and join our fun and our club. And then Chuck, are you back yet? This is where we need Chuck when he can go over the calendar. And
he's letting the dog chase the squirrels outside.
Yeah, he's not showing up on video and he's muted, so.
Yeah. Did you know that William Patterson and I both had fawns born, or at least in our backyards?
Ah,
yes,
cool.
And the mother came back and she actually, she and the fawn were in the backyard. She was drinking from our fountain, and Angie said that their doe and fawn have been hanging out for a while. Actually, William posted a photo for it. But since Chuck is not here, I'll just briefly go through. This is the events calendar that's on our website. So this is tonight's program, the 21st. There is going to be a portrait post-processing on July 2nd, which is from Jim Everard. He's going to be going over the techniques and tips for portraiture post-processing. And then there's this July 14th is the histograms, and I think Emily is going to be doing that one. Yeah, then there's the July 6th courthouse, which we'll talk about under activities. And then next month, the July 19th program is photographing the birds in Costa Rica with Ruth Holt. Now, I think you're still doing the Wednesday lunches. Is that
Yes.
true,
Oh,
Chris?
absolutely, yeah.
Ah, you're back, Chuck. Okay, you can take over.
Oh, no, we're doing the Wednesday luncheons. It's not my thing. It's probably the Emerson's thing more than anything else, right?
It's our lunch sig.
Yeah. Now, what about the Thursday post-processing? Is that still on, or is that?
Yeah, it's still on. Yeah, we did it last week, I guess. So that goes on every month. It's very, very informal. Whoever gets there, and we talk about whatever topics interest us in post-processing at the time. We talked a little bit about the new Lightroom features. Chris was going to do that, but he didn't get there.
I know. I was at the beach in Galveston with grandchildren.
Oh, you just always have an excuse. Anyways, but no, we did talk a little bit about Lightroom's new features and stuff they just came out with.
Hey, Chuck or Jim, do we need a Zoom link to join the portrait post-processing session on July 2nd?
Yes, you do need, if you just go in to most of these sessions, let me see, that's the, if you go in and register, the registration is Zoom. So when you click, click the register button, it'll take you directly to Zoom, and that'll give you the link.
All right, and we can do that on the website?
Yes, you can. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
And that Zoom is for all of them. You just have to register once, right?
Well, no, that's for there's a separate Zoom for the workshops. Each workshop has its own thing. So that if you want to go to one of these workshops, register for the workshops, because we want to know who's coming to that workshop.
Mm-hmm. But for the post-processing, that is also Zoom.
Well, the post-processing SIG is different, right? Now that's the SIG meeting on Thursdays, third Thursday of each month, I think. That you do register once and you keep that link. It can come back all the time you want.
Okay. All right. And
may I say one thing? And I'm not sure if I'm out of order with new business, old business, but I gave away some filters. Jim Shepins is going to take one, and I can't think of her name, Betty, she took another one. These were like circular polarizing filters I had that didn't fit anything. But several people, including Jim Hamanga, said, maybe we could do a workshop on filters and other lens accessories. So I'm just going to say, if there's an interest, let Chuck and myself and Kathy know, or anyone else, I don't care.
I've expressed interest in that before.
Okay, and it's a good topic, and sometimes those of us that use them don't think about it. I know half the time I forget to take the darn filter pack with me, but I've got a lot of them.
So Chris, I get the 67 millimeter filter.
Yeah, I bet you won it. You won that one. That's
I'll come by your house and pick it up.
That's about an $80 filter. So anyway.
Well, I'll pick it up at your house.
Okay, I'll touch base with you. We'll go over that.
Do that. Send me a
Chris,
text.
I'll get back to you. That's a good offer. I think that's to be a nice little workshop. It doesn't have to be a 15-hour
I'm sorry
workshop.
to interrupt the flow of the meeting.
No, that's good. I'll get back.
Kathy, you might want to use the guy we used in Minnesota. He developed some of his own filters for sale.
No. He didn't develop them. He was using, it's the one that Pam Walton likes. Pam, what filters do you use? Are you there?
Well, there's a lot of good filters. I mean, that's just, we don't have to talk about that. There's a lot of good filters. I mean, Haida and a lot of others. Yeah.
Stingray out of Florida.
Yeah, Stingray. Yeah.
Stingray.
That's the one that he recommends. So.
Well, there's hundreds of them that are really good brands.
There are. So Jim, you were going to talk about activities.
Yeah, we're going to do July 16th. We're going to do the unique courthouses south of I-10. The plan right now is to start early in the morning from Kingwood, 6:30, and it'll be a full day because we're going to hit a bunch. The one thing that John Gray put in my mind, he's going down and he's going to spend the night in Goliad so he can get some early morning or late evening and early morning shots. So people that want to sign up, go on the website and sign up and tell me if you'd rather do just all day Saturday, or if you're interested in going down Friday afternoon, staying in Victoria, and then starting there and getting back like mid-afternoon into Kingwood. So
Where's John?
And how far west are you gonna go?
do what?
How far west are you going?
We're going out to Gonzales. We're going to Cuero, Goliad.
Lavaca?
We're not going all the way out to Lockhart. That'll be a trip. And then we come back in.
Hallettsville.
What do you say, Mike?
I said Hallettsville. That's Lavaca County too.
Yeah, I think we're going to Hallettsville. There'll be one or two. If this turns out to be a nice trip, I've got about 6 courthouses that are pretty unique. And in this one, and then we'll do one out around New Braunfels, San Antonio, Lockhart, and that area, Caldwell County, which is a really neat one. And then maybe on that one do Giddings and LaGrange, do the ones north of I-10, but that'll be another trip.
And then July?
No, that is July 16th.
Okay, but
And-
so this was a slide from last month that said no official club trips. But we had changed it. This was originally June.
That's correct.
And you changed it. So the July 4th, Randy was suggesting that people take photos of the fireworks or the celebrations. I don't know if we're having a parade or not in Kingwood. And then put them, somehow get them back to on Facebook, or maybe we can have them sent up to the club events to put them together for maybe a video for August for sharing. We'll see how many we get.
Yeah.
And then the August?
Yeah, August, because of the heat, we tried to come up with something that wouldn't put us out in the heat. The H.W. Bush Library is, you're inside most of the time. And then from there, you can go down and go to the Alumni Center, Alumni Building on campus, plus look at some of the statues around the football stadium. And that's in and out of indoors. And all of that would be a day at College Station.
Okay.
And
then
they go back to school on the 22nd, I believe, of August. So we probably want to do it sometime in mid-August before the school is back in session.
Do you know when they have orientation for freshmen?
Having it now.
I don't know.
Yeah, my 2 of my nieces' kids did it last week and the week before, and the other one's in it this week.
So it's almost every weekend?
It's several days.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then you were saying that there's a pop-up coming up for the tractors. It's not really on our website that I saw.
It's on the
I
20th.
think, was
25th.
John,
Yeah.
did we talk about this Saturday? Is that what we talked?
Yes, 25th.
Yes.
It's on Facebook.
Is
Okay.
it?
Where are we supposed to meet? At the place? Where the tractors are?
No, well, no, he's got the address and everything. I think we're gonna meet at the Baptist church. I'm not sure.
I agree. Okay. Somebody just needs to put the details out. I'd like to go Saturday.
Okay, well, let me try to follow up with him, see if I can get that. He's not on apparently now, I guess.
I don't think so.
He's probably
Okay.
not on. Okay,
All right,
so I'll need to follow up. I thought Randy was doing that, but that's okay. She's not here.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll try to cover that, I guess.
Yeah.
He had said that it was at 10:30, and I don't know whether he meant that was 10:30 at the man's place or what. That's a hot, sunny time of day.
Well, but there's no.
John lives over by Dayton.
Well, the 10:30 I thought was be at the guy's place.
Yeah, it could
Yeah.
be.
Well,
Right.
okay.
That was my understanding.
We're about, what, 30 minutes from the church up there?
Well, I just wish Randy were here. I'll follow up on that. I don't know what else.
Okay.
Somebody
Okay.
else has to follow up.
Yeah. You want to talk about Albuquerque and Santa Fe?
Yeah, go ahead and do just.
We had a bunch of cancellations. We now have 5 members going, and 3 of the members have their significant other, their spouses with them. So we have a total of 8. We'll be starting to get details out on that with the dates and everything.
Okay.
There's obviously, if somebody decides they would like to go, because I think most of us are driving. And I don't know of anybody that's flying.
Considering all the problems that we're having with air traffic, that's probably a wise decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to leave my car in Albuquerque and fly to Las Vegas on the 2nd and go backpacking for 3 or 4 days.
Ah,
Fly
okay.
back, pick the car up and drive home.
Okay. So this is just some of the Facebook postings that I've noticed. 100,000 have views. Chuck, this was
It's just I get these little reports from the system once in a while. We passed 100,000 views on our website, so that's good.
That means
those people are looking at it.
Yeah, that is good. And this was one of the lunches that you had, Wednesday lunches, and then Chris had a before and after because you were using Luminar. Is that right?
Yeah. Sure.
That's really impressive, the 2.
Wow. It's all in part of the magic show. So.
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, excellent. So finally, we're getting into the share and learn images. And again, once a month, use the share and learn button that comes out on our weekly pop-up e-blast, or if you're doing club events, use the club event to share your photos. We had 38 photos that were shared, and I'm just keeping them in with the photo with the PowerPoint because it was just easier for me. So we'll start with Bill.
Yes, I just returned last week. I got back on Wednesday. My camera got back on Friday, but we're on an 11-day cruise. We flew to Venice, got on a ship, sailed around the entire coast, around the boot of Sicily, and back up through Naples and Florence. This particular photo was taken at one of the easy for me to say, Cinque Terre. Thank you. Villages, 5 villages along the east coast of Italy, and each one is more charming than the last one. It's a beautiful,
wonderful picture, Bill.
It looks like a Renoir painting.
Well, I did, apply a little editing to that, but
beautiful.
It is gorgeous. And where is this?
Let's see, I forgot. That's in Florence. No, no, Venice. I didn't know. I've forgotten that.
Venice.
Yeah, that's in Venice.
Okay, and this?
That's in the village of Herculaneum, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. In the year 79 AD, along with Pompeii, it was covered with 55 feet of ashes and pumice, and it remained hidden until the mid 1700s when they started excavating it. And that's still ongoing today. You can see on the wall there, that's one of the frescoes that is thousands of years old, but because of the protection that the ashes gave it, it was preserved, and really a very interesting, one of the World Heritage Sites.
That is really phenomenal. Yeah.
Nice.
Excellent. Thank you. Chris.
Okay. Well, I took this, when I read Kathy's description, and I know that for every season, turn, turn, turn. We all know that song. And I know the Bible verse and all that, but I thought about it and I thought, well, a time to be born. I took this picture in 1980. This is my oldest son, Colin.
Oh,
Fresh out of the oven. and I was a little shaky. I was shooting with a Nikon F2 and Ektachrome, because Ektachrome was the only fast film you could get back then. And I'm a little shaky. It's not quite sharp, but that's my son, and that's A Time to Be Born.
Oh, that's sweet.
That is so cool.
Oh, now we've jumped ahead. Somehow we got out of order. This is A Time to Die, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but this is my late mother-in-law, and she was about 2 weeks away from passing, and she was in home hospice, and I went to visit her, and her dog used to get up in bed. So she had that big furry thing in front of her under her hand is her dog, and she's petting her. And my mother-in-law was very proud of that wedding ring. She always had it on. And anyway, and it's just, I tried to focus on her and the dog. And I asked her, I said, do you mind if I photograph you? And she said, no. She said, take out my wrinkles, honey. You know, so, I wasn't able to, because she lived in Arizona, and we know what wrinkles come from Arizona.
Yeah.
That's such a sweet picture, Chris.
Yeah,
Really, that's lovely.
And okay, this is a time to laugh. These are my 5 biological children, and when we used to shoot pictures in the studio, and those of you that have been on my portrait class for children's photography, I always talk about how I used to say, hey, for every 5 or 10 good pictures, you can make a face. Well, my kids got really creative at making faces. So most kids would just make a smirky face. My kids did poses. And this was one that they just really exemplified themselves. So anyway.
No, that is really cool.
Yeah.
They just had a lot of practice with you, Chris.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, they love these pictures. So it's like, although my daughter on the right there, she's the one who's visiting me, and she goes, that was when I got that really bad haircut.
Connie.
Well, there is a season to still show our photos from Chile. So that's the Torres del Paine, that's the towers off to the right. And it's autumn, so I mean, it's just gorgeous down there.
It really is. And these animal pictures are just to die for.
I only have 1,000 more to go. I think it's 10 more years, I'll have all the photos shown to y'all.
So how many of those are you going to plaster with fracture on your walls?
Just one out of these pumas, maybe. But yeah, I have several others. Like you say, it's really making the decision. But these are one set of the cubs that we saw.
Oh, they are so precious.
Yeah, gorgeous. And last month I showed a picture of the guy in the back, the big male puma chasing. And all you saw before was the little tail piece on the picture. And I told you I had the before the picture. And this is the before, where all of a sudden the one in the front, which is a little female, she goes, there he is.
And he chased her.
He chased her. They actually jumped over the fence.
Oh my. Look at that. This is David.
This is another set of cubs. And the backdrops are real. Those are not fake backdrops. I mean, it is too. It's just gorgeous. You couldn't ask for a better place to take pictures.
How many cubs did you actually see?
4?
Two
sets. There were 2 sets of 2.
Okay. How old do you think they are?
How old?
Mm-hmm.
This set was probably, 8 to 9 months old, maybe at the most.
Yeah,
at the most. Because the other set was younger that I showed, and then these are just a month or 2 older than them.
Look at that paw; it's huge.
Oh, they're just so stocky and so.
But they're just act like just kittens. They're playing with each other. The cubs just play together and roll on the ground, tackle each other. It's fun.
How did you view them? Did they take you like in a Jeep or?
No.
No, we just went in a vehicle, but you had to get out and go up, climb up hills or mountains, not mountains, basically hills. And we got out there before daylight most of the time.
Yeah.
And so I have some pictures I took in the dark that they're grainy, but I love the look of them, but I didn't show those. But these were just taken, these are, I don't know what time these are, in the morning sometime here, I think.
Right.
That may be in the afternoon there.
But we're not very far from her at this point.
Yeah.
But if I can add something here, I know we sometimes joke with Connie and David that David has this high dollar Canon, fast, heavy, glass lens, but the thing is, this is where you look at the sharpness on the faces, but the bokeh, whatever you want to call it, the fall off is what, to me, that's amazing. That last shot and this shot, it's like, whoa, it's crystal sharp. Yeah, and you look at the fall off. It's like it's dreamlike around them. So that's the difference of I think it's a 2.8 or a 4.5.
It's a 2.8.
That's a 2.8.
It's a 2.8. You can see the difference between my 400 and his.
And as long as you're on point with the 2.8 on focus, you're good, and the rest is all magical. So that's my only comment.
So were you shooting at 2.8, or I mean with
No,
the long
no,
lens,
those are
even
probably-
at like 5.6, you can get good bokeh.
Probably-
So
I think these are 5.6.
yeah.
If you got to watch it, if you shoot too low, your
Right,
depth of
you'll-
field is not enough.
You'll get 3 inches on their nose, but I'm just saying, having a beautiful big glass and high quality lens, yeah, it does make a difference.
Yeah,
Absolutely
it lets the light
makes a
in.
difference.
It lets the light in too.
Just the weight that you have to carry around. I like look at, he looks like he's smiling.
Yeah.
That is so cute.
They look kind of like got little mustaches, both of them. They look like little mustaches.
It does. Okay, Emily, is she still driving? Is she on? Do you know?
I don't see her on.
Wow.
Scrolling through.
Lost
This
her.
one
I
of
don't see
David.
her.
Way. And I'm not sure what this is.
Oh my.
Well, that's one of those Egyptian geese taken off after
Somebody getting goose.
must be.
And then this looks like a time to celebrate. Might be a wedding.
Looks like her daughter.
And then, yeah, it does. And then Jim?
Yeah, mine is on, there is a season to play golf, 7 at Pebble Beach. There is a season to ski, and that's looking from Keystone over to Breckenridge.
Mm-hmm. And that was the only 2 that I got. Did you have a third one?
Do what?
Did you have a third one? Those were the only 2.
Yeah, I had 4 of them.
I only got 2.
That's a beautiful shot.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, you missed my really funny one then.
Oh, yeah, because I looked and these were the only 2 I had.
Yeah, I sent
only
4
thought
of
you
them.
were-
to you. I
Oh,
sent
shoot.
4.
Yeah, there's one missing of David's too, I think.
Am I?
1, 2. I see.
There was only.
All right. Well, all right.
I see
The others went
Yeah,
into the
I only see
ether.
one of David's.
3 in there.
Yeah, I only see 3 here.
Yeah. Hmm.
Oh my.
Okay, Mark.
Whoa.
Oh.
some scale.
Okay, this is Pam hiking in Capitol Reef. And we're walking the wash. Here, yeah, the Grand Wash, was it?
Yeah.
The Grand Wash.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how much water could flow through there, because all the water, when it does pour, comes down one side and then just gushes through this wash.
Yeah.
And also at Capitol Reef, the pies and cinnamon buns were great. This is Pam hiking at Bryce Canyon.
Did she carry your backpack?
No, she's on her own, and I'm on my own. I fall down, I gotta get up.
I hate it when that
And
happens.
this is the art
That's the hardest
she wanted to see before it collapsed. And there-
Landscape art.
Oh, cool,
Landscape art. There she is down there.
I didn't know you took these pictures.
That's the landscape arch.
Landscape arch. Yep.
Landscape art, yeah.
And then Pam.
All right. I thought it was storytelling. Was that last month?
Yeah.
Was storytelling last month?
This is kind of storytelling. It's a time for all seasons, so I think it is.
Okay. Well, I'm doing
Whatever.
storytelling
Whatever
here.
you make of it.
This is our grandson. He was 5, and we decided to take him to a barber shop to get his hair cut. He's not quite sure that he wants this done. He's kind of looking pretty serious about what is this guy going to do to me. But it looks like it might work. I'm kind of having fun at this. I'm kind of enjoying it. Go to the next one. He's ticklish and he's having a great time. So.
That first haircut is amazing.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
Steve.
I want to see what it looked like.
I'm sorry, you can only send in 3 pictures. You don't get that one.
Next, bud.
Okay, so this is a season for nature's replenishment of its species. So this is at High Island a couple of years ago.
Good point.
With the egrets. And this is the fall season, and this was taken at a cemetery in the Brookshires in Massachusetts on a trip we made, gosh, back in like 2015, and it was just kind of surreal, the yellow above and below, and walking through that archway there.
That's a beautiful picture. That'd look good on the fracture.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, that's a good fracture.
And then this was a season for learning. So this is a picture from my iPhone from like 20 years ago with my son and my father-in-law. And every year they would come down to visit, and they would go to Anahuac, and this is birding. He was a big birder, and he's teaching my son all the tricks and of birding and what to look for. So this is kind of a special look back picture. And I just happened to come upon this as I was going through stuff, and it was just a neat reminder.
I love this photo, and I like the book, how he's got it all marked up too.
Oh yeah, it's a well-used birding book. Yep.
Yeah, I recognize a true birder book.
Do you still have the book, Steve?
I'm not sure if I do or not. I know I have several birding books. I'm not sure if I have that one, because that was my father-in-law's. So I'm not sure.
Tim.
All right. Well, if you guys caught us at all during break, we were talking about what's consuming my world for the last probably end of April through next weekend is Summer League swimming. I'm the team photographer, as you might guess. Sitting down and actually injured my ankle getting up and down too much and trying to get low for shots like this. But this is my daughter Sophie.
A great
who
shot.
Just walked through this room a minute ago, swimming butterfly. So all three swim. So you get one picture of each of them doing some different strokes. So Sophie swimming butterfly. This was a little more challenging because it was indoors at the newly built New Canyon Auditorium. So much middle of the day, but still much higher ISO. So still worked out. A little harder to get the same reach as I can get outdoors. But this is Debbie swimming. I think she was doing the 200 free. And this is my daughter Cecilia, who also swims for K Park, as you see there, swimming breaststroke, which she set a record this year for the team as a 15-year-old in the 15 to 18 category in breaststroke. So it's been a fun season. They all had a good season. It's just a bit.
What lens are you using, Tim?
The two outdoor ones were the 100 to 500, and the indoor was the 70 to 200.
And you're just sitting along. You're just along the side of the pool.
Yep, sitting on the ground at the side of the pool.
Mm-hmm.
The indoor one, it's kind of strange. The indoor pools are usually kind of we call it zero grade, but I'm not sure it's the right answer or the right phrase. But the edge of the pool and the water level are even, and they have a little grate so the overflow catches. So if you sit in the ground, you're too low. So on the indoor one, I'm kneeling, but the other ones, I'm just sitting on the ground.
Okay.
Or for the butterfly, I'm almost laying on the ground.
Are you?
Yeah, sitting on the ground but leaning over as low as I can get. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you've got that great visual.
The lower the better on those.
They were really nice. William.
Okay, first one is Time for Strength. I was photographing a children's event for my church about 2 years ago, and this was a classic, pulling contest. But I love it because if you look at the different boys doing it, you almost see their different personalities come out. A couple of them are like, I'm all in to win this thing. A lot are like, I don't really care. I'm just having a good time.
I'm just here for the show.
Just show them off.
That's cute.
And this one I thought, a Time for Exploration, another children's event for the church at a different time. That these kids were out at a ranch and they had a little fishing pond there. And so this little girl here was the first fish she ever landed.
Wow.
She's quite fascinated. Not afraid of it. She's quite fascinated by it. And the final one was A Time for New Life. As Kathy mentioned, for some strange reason, our backyard is a maternity ward for fawns. And this was actually not this year. We had one happen this year, but this was last year. And that little fawn was born right off the steps of our back deck in the early morning. And then we saw the birth, but it was too dark to take photographs of it. But as the sun came up and mother had cleaned up the fawn, this is the very first moment when the fawn stood up for the first time. And we got to see it kind of wobble across the backyard and get its legs under it for a few minutes. So it was quite cute.
It's so sweet. Oh,
beautiful. And Mike.
Oh, this is a time for night sky wonders. So this is a shot from our trip to northern Minnesota. We're about 30 miles from the Canadian border up there, and we joined a photo tour with a group and got some pictures here. This one's in one of the lakes that are all along all 10, you know, it's a land of 10,000 lakes, but we really had a lot of fun. It was cloudy almost up to the day we were supposed to go. And we thought, oh my God, we just wasted our money. But then we lucked out, and all of a sudden it cleared up, and we got this picture of the Milky Way that was really nice. Next one. I continue to work on my astrophotography, and I'm learning a little bit. I started using a new software that a lot of these guys use called PixInsight. And it's amazing what you can do. It does all kinds of neat filtering. And that's why I was kind of asking about the fracture. I thought that made a beautiful glass print on there. Yeah,
it really would.
Oh yeah.
Catch all those colors in it.
Yeah, that'd be beautiful.
Thank you. And then in our trip to Fredericksburg, there's a star cluster called the Pleiades. That is, I really like to photograph that because it's got these beautiful blue patterns in it. You can kind of see at the bottom right corner, there's even some dust along there as well. And so I'm really enjoying this hobby. It's I'm getting better and better at it, but it's a slow and long process.
Good stuff.
Nice.
Okay, so we're down to the final ones. This is the Me Too puppy. Whenever they want to hug, the puppy wants to be in the middle of it. So they were hugging, and then the puppy comes over and says, "Me too, me too." And they're actually got some really good laughs.
What has she got in her mouth there, Kathy? A little basketball?
Oh, she's popped at least 3 of Gabriel's basketballs. So now those are her toys. So she gets them and she with them and runs off with them. But so far, so now he brings his basketball into the house so that she can't get a hold of him. And then every Saturday they go to the market, and at the market, everyone has their puppy and their dogs, and their dog Lyra is very anxious to play with everyone. She's about 8 months old, and she's kind of a mixed breed. She's a very sweet dog though. But this bulldog and her, they kind of got into the play acting was a little too active, I think, for them, but that's their Saturday thing. So then as I was leaving, I snagged a window seat, and every so often you get a good shot of a flyover. So this is my view from my window seat coming back to IAH on Monday. Clear skies, you can see the downtown New York, and over here is the Statue of Liberty. Yeah. So every so often I get one of those. So this is the end of the meeting. Our next meeting is July 19th. I apologize to those who said I missed some of their photos. I'll make sure to go back, and they will be uploaded into the gallery. So I apologize. I know we put time into them and we want to share them. So I feel really bad about that.
Kathy, I don't see some of the photos in here. So I'm not sure they got uploaded properly. They may not have.
Okay.
I'm just looking at Dropbox right now.
Yeah.
I see, for example, David, I got 3 pictures from David. I think you said you missed one.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, but we only 2 showed, so.
Oh, did they? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe
Only
so.
2 showed.
I don't see anything from Jim. He must have sent them to you directly.
He sent those to me directly, which is why I only saw the 2 emails. So I thought that was all that you sent me.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, so maybe it wasn't an issue. Next month, we have the speaker, Ruth Hoyt. Has she spoken to us before, Connie?
Yes, back in 2019, I think it was.
Yeah, one of our last virtuals or whatever.
No,
Anyway.
she hasn't done virtual with us.
No, I mean last in person. Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah. I remember her. So photographing the birds of Costa Rica, which should be very interesting. And one of the things, Connie, I sent you information from the man that we had as a workshop leader in Minnesota. He said he'd be willing to do a Zoom. Did you get my email?
Yes, but it won't be this year.